This product, what we call it Cotflex, is basically a product made out of man-made fiber, which is polyester, but you get all the properties of cotton. So while the public infrastructure is very poor, but private infrastructure is also getting built up, right? So we run a program called Blue Origin. That's a code name internally, right? So what we do is that we identify a particular geography or pin code, a cluster of pin codes, right? And we start putting ads in those areas through performance marketing, Facebook, Instagram, etc. We acquire retailers, right?
So, welcome to our podcast where we explore the dynamic world of sportswear innovation and marketing strategies with the CEO of Techno Sports. So get ready to dive deep into the intersection of technology, fitness, and style as we uncover the unique journey of Techno Sportswear and its approach to creating cutting edge activewear. Thank you so much, Pushpin, for joining this live podcast.
Thank you, Aksha. Thank you for having me in your podcast. I'm very happy and delighted to be part of this.
Yes,
Uh,
we are too. So, to begin with, the first question. So, can you tell us about Techno Sportswear, unique blend of technology, fitness, and style, in creating activewear?
yep. So just to give you some quick background, right?
Yes.
TechnoSport, the vision of TechnoSport is to bring the world-class technology, which is available all over the world to the Indian consumer, right? And with that vision, we started our journey, quite some time back. The manufacturing facility is in Tirupur near Coimbatore, where we have our own manufacturing unit. Traditionally, if you look at sportswear as a category, is predominantly imported, right? It is imported from China, Taiwan, Thailand, etc., right? We are probably the only brand in the country today. We are able to mass produce those international technologies at scale, and we are able to offer that to our Indian consumers at a very affordable price, right? So at one end, we bring the cutting edge technology. On the other end, we try to produce in a mass scale so that we can offer it to the entire consumer segment, right? India is all about scale. We know that India has 150 crore roughly population, right? But predominantly of the population cannot afford some of the big German or American sportswear brands, right?
Right.
So our objective is to provide that comfort and technology to a large audience where it doesn't pinch their pocket, right? And at the same time, what we try is that we want to bring that global technology. So this is the journey so far. We have sold last financial year 15 million garments, which is largest by any activewear brand in the country.
Wow.
uh, all big brands, I mean, you name them, right? We are actually the largest at this point in time. We have a huge distribution base across the country. So we have about 5,000 retailers, all over the country. We have our own, D2C presence. We are present in all the marketplaces, like Flipkart, Myntra, Amazon, etc. We are also looking at expanding our base through our own offline stores. So right now we are experimenting, 4 5 stores, just to start with, and then we will kind of expand it all over the country. So that's the journey. We are also globally, available. South Africa, GCC countries,
Mm.
Singapore, etc. We are currently available. We want to take this brand, globally as well. So that's our journey. I think I'll be happy to sort of answer if you have any specific questions later. As we speak, I think I'll share more about it.
Definitely. Lovely to talk to such a great personality. So,
Thank
how
you.
does Techno Sportswear differentiate itself in the market with its advanced fabric technologies?
Yeah. So I think the idea is that when you look at any sportswear, right, the general connotation of sportswear is that it has to be polyester or man-made fabric, right? Anything which is polyester, is kind of considered as a technical garment, right?
Mhm.
It is actually not. There's a lot more science goes behind it, right? So I would like to talk about a few aspects of a technology-driven sportswear, right? So first is that quick drying technology, right? So when you do certain activity, throughout the day, or during your workout, etc., your body generates certain amount of heat, right? And that heat gets converted into moisture, because your body has 70% water, right?
Hmm.
And the moisture comes out through the pores of your body, right, or skin,
Yes.
right? So once it comes out, it kind of gets condensed because of atmospheric pressure, etc., and then it kind of blocks the pore, right? So you have so much of heat inside, the water molecules are coming out and further blocking it, right? So it causes a lot of irritation, while working out. A technology-driven sportswear is that it will absorb the moisture and it will dry it faster, so that you kind of take that heat out of your body and you feel comfortable in the journey, right? So that's the technology. Second technology is that your UV protection, right? India is predominantly a topical country, and if you go out, let's say it's a 30-degree temperature outside, whether you're in shade or in the sun, right? The temperature is the same, but you'll feel a lot more heat under the sun, right? The reason is very simple. When the sun ray falls on your skin, it has UV rays, right? And UV rays kind of goes inside your body, and your body kind of reacts to it, and in that reaction it generates something called melanin, right? And that kind of and it will become darker, right? You use the sunscreen, etc., right? So that tries to block the UV protection, UV rays, right? So our garments, we technically engineer the garments to block the UV rays. So all our garments are 50% UV protection, right?
Oh,
So it doesn't matter whether you're playing under sun, or you're going out on a beach vacation, or you're a fisherman, right? It gives you that comfort, right? The third and most important thing is that antimicrobial technology, right? So when you work out, your body generates a lot of sweat, a lot of temperature, right? It's like, like when it rains, you see a lot of, mosquitoes, getting,
yeah.
uh, yeah, generated, right? The
Mhm.
breeding ground, water becomes a breeding ground to a lot of
Mhm.
mosquito, right? Our body is also like that. Wherever there is temperature and water, it will generate a lot of bacteria and microorganisms. And these microorganisms have a very limited, lifespan, right? And it generates in billions, right, within a few seconds and minutes, etc. It generates faster and dies faster, right? When it dies, it kind of creates that odor, that the bacteria is decaying, and the foul smell comes from your body, right? Also, if that bacteria goes inside your body, right, you might get infection, right? So we have our proprietary technology, which is developed, in-house, using some of the global technologies, etc., where each of our garment has antimicrobial technology. So it doesn't allow the bacteria to grow or the microorganism to grow, right? So these are some of the technologies which are built over a period of time, and we stand by the technology. Some of the technologies, last much longer than some of the global brands, right? All the German and American brands, they build it for a developed market where consumers are not using that garment for, let's say, 20, 30 washes, right? But in India, the consumer expect to garment last longer, right? So all our technologies will probably last in a 40, 50, 60 washes, right? We have done some of the tests in the global labs, etc. So we not only provide the technology which is cutting edge, also we provide the durability of the technology in the long term. I'll give you one anecdote, one story, right? During the first pandemic, right, in the month of March in 2020, and the first lockdown was lifted, right? And we suddenly started getting call from a lot of distributor in the coastal area, which is in Pondicherry, Chennai, etc., right? And they wanted a specific type of t-shirt which is full sleeve, right? And we were a little curious that during summer, peak summer in Pondicherry, let's say, who is the person who is buying such a big full sleeve t-shirt, because any which is you in summer you would like to wear something sleeveless or half sleeve,
Yeah.
right? So we started sort of digging deeper into it. We started talking to the distributors, etc., in that particular area, the stores, etc., and we found most of the fishermen in that community, right, in that area, in the coastal belt, right, they prefer using a TechnoSport full sleeve T-shirt during summer and go for deep sea fishing, right? It gives you UV protection. It dries faster. You are handling a lot of organic matter, fish, etc. So it doesn't give you that foul smell in your body, right? And you feel comfortable, right? So that's the kind of level of technology we bring in, right? I mean, in spite of the fact that that fisherman doesn't know what technology goes behind that product, right? But still he loves that product, and they bought in bulk, right? So we, as a brand, we believe if you have a body, you are an athlete, right? As simple as that. Because athlete doesn't mean that you have to go to the running track, or go
Right.
to a
Hmm.
etc., and work out day to day basis. But throughout the day, you do a lot of activity, right? You drive a bike, you ride a bike, you go to office, you do multiple things, right? So in that journey, we want to enhance your performance, and that's why we are just not a sportswear brand, but we call us an athleisure brand, right? So,
That's why techno
from
sport.
morning to evening, right? The entire journey, we will enhance your comfort and performance.
Right.
So that's how our differentiate our product. I elaborated a little bit, but it's very interesting to know,
Yes,
what
very
goes behind.
interesting. I feel that it is like a groundbreaking technology that you've built. Thank you so much for bringing such technology to us. So that you mentioned that Techno Sportswear doesn't invest heavily in large marketing campaign but focuses on R&D, right?
Yeah.
So how do you strike a balance between product development and marketing?
No, it's a very interesting question, right? And I keep telling, a lot of people I meet, a lot of our partners, retailers, etc., that we are probably the only brand in the country who has invested more in R&D than marketing, right? Our R&D budget is much, much more than marketing, right? So there are two aspects to it, right? One aspect is that, I've been in the industry for the last 22 years. I've built a lot of brands and I've personally been involved in building up companies, etc. There are two approaches, right? One approach is that you first build the marketing part of it, right? You go out to the consumer, make large claims, right? You start telling a story, right? And then you kind of go back to the team and, yeah, I have committed this to the consumer. Let's go and figure it out, right? Let's build a product which will match the promise I'm making. The other way is that, you first go, right? You invest heavily, yourself, time, energy, team, etc., right? That I want to build a product which truly stands for, what I commit, right? So we are probably the second one, right? I am a person, I strongly believe in organic things, right?
Hmm.
Things has to come within, a product has to stand on its own, right? It's not about promises, anyone and everyone can go and make promises, right? But you have to stand by that promise, right? That's very, very important for me. As a company, we believe in. So
Agree.
we have always heavily invested in the product technology. We built a product, and the test was, that when we launched a product in a distribution channel, right, in a particular retail channel, right, we never spoke about, this product has this technology, right, or this product we have built with so much of, investment, etc. We just place the product, just keep it there. Consumer will come. They bought once, right? They felt so good that they came back again and bought twice, thrice, multiple times. The same product they bought in multiple colors, right?
Customer loyalty we have.
Yes, exactly. So if something is really good, the customer will come back, right?
Yes.
It's as simple as that. But yes, completely understand that brand building and marketing is important, right? So now this is the phase where we are now focusing on the brand building and marketing, because what brought you till here may not take you, where we want to go, right? Because now you have a very strong base. The consumer love, they just love our product. They keep coming back again and again, buy organically, right? Now using that, how do you tell a story, right? There's so much goes behind a product, right? Every day we put in so much of our heart and soul in building a great product, right? How do you bring that story alive, right? So that's where we will be now playing the balancing act, what you asked for. So initial investment, initial energy was building a great product. We got a great traction already in terms of volume, the largest brand in the country today, 15 million units. Now using this, how do we build a great story around that is something what we want to explore.
Understood. So with the trend of merging lifestyle and activewear, how is Technosport positioning itself to meet the demands of consumers, wanting a mix of styling, fashion, comfort, and lifestyle?
Yeah. So I think very interesting question again, right? You're asking right questions to me. So I think, if you look at today consumer, right? Uh, I think comfort has become a very, very important aspect of clothing, right? Uh, if we were having this conversation, let's say in a 20 years back, both of us would have been probably in formals, right? That's the kind of trend, 20, 15, 20 years back, right? But now consumers are more disrupted by, technology, and comfort is the more important thing, right? It doesn't matter what you wear, but, feeling good, looking good. At the same time, comfort has become very, very important thing, right? And what can give you the most comfort, right? What is designed for the athletes, if you wear it on a day-to-day basis, that's the best, product you can wear, right?
Yes.
So I think it goes without saying that athleisure and the fashion and lifestyle is kind of merging together. That's number one, right? Second is that, the use cases are also merging, right? So you go to office, right? You find somebody wearing an Asics shoe or Nike shoe coming to office, right? Now when Nike designed a shoe, they never designed for going to office, right? They
Yeah.
designed for athlete, right? They
Athlete.
designed for When we designed, we never designed for the fishermen, right?
Right.
But the consumers are adopting. They love the product, and going to office wearing it because they feel comfortable, right? Who are we as a brand to stop them? I
Right.
cannot go and
Definitely.
I designed it for gym while I'm wearing in office, right?
Yeah.
So it's as simple as that. So consumers, the thin line between different use cases and how consumer wants to adopt and evolve over a period of time, it's beyond anybody's control. You just need to offer a great product, right?
Yes.
That's from a lifestyle point of view. But on the fitness side also, if you look at, India is a large country, right? 60% population is the below 30 years of age. So that means 90 crore population is below 30, is young consumer, right? On the tier one cities, if you look at, I think there's a lot of infrastructure getting built, particularly on the sports and activity side, right? So India predominantly has been very poor in terms of fitness infrastructure, right? You cannot go. I mean, there are hardly any good gyms available. There are no public parks for running, right? You cannot think of running on the street. Somebody will come and hit you from the back, right? But I think things are kind of growing over a period of time. The government has putting a lot of focus. Private companies like Cult and all that building great gyms, etc.
Gyms.
Right?
Right.
If you look at housing societies, right now India is growing vertically because a lot of people are migrating and a lot of housing complexes are coming up, right? And it's a very competitive industry, right? Everyone wants to offer two tennis court, two badminton court, one jogging track, right? So while the public infrastructure is very poor, but private infrastructure is also getting built up, right? So consumers are getting health and fitness conscious post COVID. Overall the general awareness about health and fitness has gone up, right? So overall it is becoming a very conducive environment, okay, for fitness, lifestyle, and health to come together and create a trend. And this trend will continue for a long, long time. Because if you go and find this trend, let's say US or China or Japan, you cannot, because they are predominantly an aged population, right? India is young population. So this trend will continue for next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So this is our opportunity right now to build great products, offer it to them, ride the change, and create an impact in the consumer's life, right? So that's how I look at it when it comes to athleisure, health, fitness, kind of merging together over a period
Definitely.
of time.
Agree. So, how has your digitalization of 5,000 small and medium retailers contributed to Techno Sportswear growth journey, especially with initiatives like ONDC?
Yeah. No, so I'll come to the holistic approach, right? When we talk about digitization of our business, right, we don't talk about one small little thing, right? So
Hmm.
there's a very holistic approach to it, right? One, of course, what we did last year is that we launched our own platform, which is our D2C platform. We made the brand available online on Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, and you'll be very happy to know that in the first year of operations, we sold 1 million garments online, right? And that's pretty large. I have been in this industry. I don't know any brand, in the first year of operation
Hmm.
sold 1 million garments, and that too at 0% discount.
Wow.
Okay. And online, if I have to sell anything today without discount, it's next to impossible because, the platforms, let's say, Flipkart or Myntra, they will put a banner 50 to 70% off. So if you're not offering that discount, even getting tagged to that banner is next to impossible, right? But we cracked very, very innovative way, and the credit goes to the team. The cumulative discount at a YTD level will be 2-3%. So I call it even full price, right? Our performance marketing has been very, very low.
Phenomenal.
Generally D2C brands do 20-30% performance marketing. We are below 10% performance marketing, right? So one of the side of the digitalization is that build that brand footprint. It all like space. Second is the normal offline in the 5,000 retailers, right? So we run a program called Blue Origin. That's a code name internally, right? So what we do is that we identify a particular geography or pin code, a cluster of pin codes, right? And we start putting ads in those areas through performance marketing, Facebook, Instagram, etc. We acquire retailers, right? So if you're a retailer, you'll be able to see the ad. The TechnoSport is so and so brand. It offers so many styles. It gives you best margin, best sell through, etc. So once you come in on board, then we have a loyalty program for the retailers, right? Where you will be able to get certain benefits, right? So one of the loyalty program what we offer is the micro market, digital marketing program for them. So let's say you run a store, let's say in Valsad, Goa, Gujarat, right? You have a small store, right? You come on board with us in our program. What we do, we create a digital identity of your store. Even if it is a small store, we'll create your Google Map profile, we'll create your Facebook profile, etc. And we'll start putting ads in local vicinity, right? in that vicinity, any consumer, they will come to know that TechnoSport is available in that store, so they will come to the store, they will buy more. So we not only solve the supply problem, but also we solve the demand problem, right? And then there are tiering, right? Based on gold, diamond, and etc. You will get certain benefits, you'll get display boards, but predominantly it's a digital initiative, right? Now the step two of that is that we have launched a B2B app, which is only available for the retailers. If you're a retailer, you come and register yourself on the app, you do your basic KYC, etc., and then the entire world of TechnoSport is available at your fingertips, right? So you can, so you can basically get connected to the company. You get access to the inventory. You get access to the entire catalog. You can order directly, either our distributor in a partner, or we will fulfill it to your doorstep. It's not only just supply demand platform, but also the entire marketing program which you talked about. I will be available on the app. There will be content media server, right? So if you want to, let's say, a recent catalog of video and send it to a consumer, right, you can do that, right? You can possibly get a fintech integration where we will be offering you credit, right? So we are building a super app kind of thing for a retailer, where accessing inventory, ordering, understanding what is a new launch, getting access to credit, getting access to media content, promotional advertisement, etc. Your whole digital marketing, marketing in the micro market, right? Everything will come together, right? So that's how we are approaching the whole digitalization kind of journey.
Understood. So, can you share some successful marketing strategies that that helped TechnoSports reach its target audience and build a strong brand presence?
Yeah, so I think so there are two ways to look at it. One is that one is generic marketing, right? So of course, we did a large campaign during the World Cup, right? And it did really well. And the whole idea was that how do you kind of
Hmm.
bring TechnoSport during World Cup, and we find it very fascinating that TechnoSport and cricket has a lot of similarities, right? I mean, again, like sports, sportswear and other one sport, right? Cricket one stand for the game of royals. Now everyone in India plays cricket. Similarly, TechnoSport, the technologies what we offer, only you have to pay royally to get those technologies, but we offer it at a very, very reasonable cheap price. And in the end of that, the spirit of the game is undeniable, and we are more Indian. Cricket is more Indian than probably any other sport, right?
Hmm.
Similarly, we are an Indian brand, right?
Right.
So we did a large campaign. We reached out to some of the platform where the match was being displayed, etc. So that's one campaign which is very, very successful. The other program what we call internally is that Launchpad, right? And Launchpad is my, by the way, my very personal favorite word, right? Anything I want to launch, I call them Launchpad. So during this program, what we decided, we'll pick and select, right? Some of the key launches for the year, right? So every month we have one or two or three launches, which we'll pick and select, and then we'll start telling a story about it. So one of the launch recently, what we did was Cotflex. Okay, so in polyester, general connotation from Indian consumer is that it's not good, it's not very friendly for the skin. It becomes hot during summer. It's very
Yeah, it's
cold
very
during.
difficult to wear nylon during summers, right?
Correct. So, but the point is that that was the technology 20 years, 30 years, 40 years back when we were growing up kids, right? I mean, now the technology is evolved, right? So this product, what we call it, Cotflex, is basically a product made out of man-made fiber, which is polyester, but you get all the properties of cotton, right? So it feels like cotton. It your hand feel, your touch, everything is like cotton, right? But at the same time, it has all the benefits of a man-made fiber: moisture wicking property, your UV protection, your antimicrobial, right? So we launched that product using a particular campaign on the digital, with our distributor, with our retailer partners, right? We created some bit of content, we tied up with influencers, etc., and that was a pretty reasonable success, I would say.
Right.
Having said that, we are a company, I think we're transitioning between no marketing to a marketing driven company. So as we kind of move forward, we would like to explore more and more avenues and ideas to tell a story, and in that journey you will see a lot more coming up in the future.
Definitely. So, what are some emerging trends in the sportswear industry that Techno Sportswear is innovating to stay ahead of?
Okay, so I think emerging technology, if you look at, right, uh, One is that your performance aspect, right?
Right.
Uh, so which is basically all your technology behind it, and that constantly evolving, right? And I'm happy to tell you that TechnoSport as a brand is far ahead of any other competition, right? So within that moisture wicking, within that UV protection, how much you can innovate is something is constantly evolving, right? There is a reason why some of the global brands stay ahead of time, right? So that's one trend of it, right? So you need to technology wise, you need to constantly keep on upgrading, investing, etc. We just opened up our new factory. We have invested quite heavily, right? And that kind of unlock a lot of supplies for us also in the future for growth, right? The other trend is that how do you kind of diversify product portfolio, right? It's not only just one type of product, but also how do you kind of bring uh, not only just technology but also styling and fashion, right? So one of the thing what we do here is that we are a fast fashion brand, right? So every month or every couple of months our range completely changes, right? So overall, if you look at consumers are also buying more, consuming more, because they can order it at their fingertips, or there is a retail store they can go and buy. The overall disposable income of the consumer is growing. So how do you kind of constantly innovating to offer something new to the consumer is another trend, right? Which we really want to leverage, and we have been done very successfully. So we have been traditionally very strong in t-shirts, but now we're very strong in bottom wear, right? We are experimenting some of the categories like women's, right? Which we are not very strong in the past, but we are offering now.
Yes.
Kids, etc. Right? So I
Mhm.
think diversification in the portfolio, offering new trend, blending fashion with technology, and constantly upgrading your technology. These are the trends. What we are kind of focusing right now.
Okay.
There might be a lot more, but this is what we plan to do at this stage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Understood. How has technology disrupted traditional sportswear business model, and how is TechnoSport adapting to these changes?
So you're talking about from a business model point of view.
Yeah.
No, I think our business model is very simple. Okay, we have a very uniform business model across, right?
Mhm.
Um, while a lot of textile brands have a very complex way of reaching out to the consumer, so they will have multiple layers in between. There will be dealer, super distributor, retailer, etc. Right? We wanted to very fair. So one of the objective what we had in our company is that we want to offer as lowest as possible to the consumer, right? So how do you do that, right? If I want to offer something at a X price, right, I need to keep my cost down. The only way I can keep my cost down is that if I remove a lot of handsets in between, right? So our business model is very simple. We have only one handset model, right? To the consumer, it's two basically. So there is one super stockist, and then there is retailer, and then directly to the consumer, right? So we remove all the layers in between, so that everyone is happy. Consumer is getting at the best price. The
Mhm.
distributor is getting the best margin. The retailer is getting the best margin,
Mhm.
and we are very fast and agile, right? So our dead inventory in the process is very low. We are able to control everything, whenever we want to sort of optimize, etc. So that's the business model we have taken. Having said that, I think it's a constantly evolving thing. Now that we are opening up our own stores, right? So there is a very different business model, because selling at a price like this and making money from offline stores and giving experience is not that there are a lot of brands has done in India. But at the same time, we just don't want to open and just take the franchise and
Yeah.
give it to people to run, right?
Mhm.
So to solve that problem, our franchisee also makes money. We also make money. Our consumer also makes it at the best price, right?
Mhm.
So we are working on that business model. Online also is the same thing. We want to offer it at the best price. We don't want to give any discount. You get good quality at the MRP price. At the same time, we want to make money, right? So our approach is very simple. We want to keep it, you know, as simple as possible, less layer in the process, and all of us should make money. We, the partner, the consumers, everyone, should get the benefit of this whole business model.
Understood. You believe in global collaborations, right, and partnerships for sustainability. So, can you elaborate on how Techno Sportswear approaches this belief in its business operations?
Yeah. So global collaboration, of course, we bring a lot of technology from global partners, right? So we have a very strong Taiwanese, partner who gives us all the technology, and that's why we are able to stay ahead of the curve, right? But when it comes to sustainability, right? So I think you have to understand that sportswear as a category, generally it is felt that it is not the sustainable and environment friendly, right? But the point is that the amount of water used for a traditional fabric like cotton, right, starting from growing that cotton bringing up to a stage, and then making the final product is it's insane, right? Whereas a man-made fabric like a polyester, right, it uses much lesser water, right? So it's by default it is sustainable, right? At the same time, if you can recycle, it can be given a new shape, right? It can be converted into a new product. So new factory which we're opening in, which we have already actually opened in Tirandurai near Tirupur, right? This factory will be probably one of the lowest water consuming one lowest water consuming per garment factory in the world, right?
Oh,
Yes, yes,
wow.
one of the, like maybe top two, three factories in the world where probably we are consuming very less water to make one particular garment, right? Not only that, right? It's a zero liquid discharge factory, right? That means none of the chemical waste, none of the effluent is going out of the factory. Everything gets recycled within the factory, right?
Wow.
So we are very very environment friendly, sustainable company. The energy what we're using is maybe maybe 80-90% will be renewable energy, right, within solar energy, etc., right? So as a company we are very very conscious, right? See, sustainability is not a marketing gimmick for us, it's a promise, right? When you buy a TechnoSport product, you feel good for yourself, you also feel good for the environment. That's the promise we want to give.
You've got a thumbs up emoji.
Thank you.
So what motivated you to join Techno Sportswear as its CEO, especially coming from a background of co-founding Cult Gay and holding leadership positions at Mintra and Jabot?
Well, I can tell you that I'm a very adventurous person in life. But having said that, I think I remember a couple of years back I landed in this company. I was a cult at that point in time. We were having some strategic discussion, etc. The moment I landed, I found there's a very different vibe there, right? The enthusiasm, the energy, the overall, the innovation is happening is kind of infectious, right? Secondly, I mean, throughout my life, and I sold a lot of activewear, etc. I know, most of the international brands. I've visited their global headquarters, etc.
Hmm.
I always felt that India lacks. Right? There's nothing in India, right? Which we can produce. Right. The moment I landed here, I found that this is the answer to Indian activewear. Right. And still, the story is not told to the world, and that is well. Of course, Sunil, Sumit, Sandeep, and rest of the the promoter family. They were very friendly. We had a very good relationship, etc. And when that opportunity came, I thought it's worth giving it a try, right? Because there's so much of opportunity here, to build. And I'm a person, who believes building things from scratch, right? You can give me a very large sort of setup, where I have to go and manage things, is something doesn't excite me, right? I really want to build things from scratch, and this was probably an opportunity where I literally built the Bangalore office from scratch, hired the team, the whole D2C team, the marketplace team, the branding team, marketing team, offline team, right?
So
The
involved
B2B,
from A to Z, everything.
yes, yes, everything, right? So it was a hybrid, kind of role for me. It was kind of an entrepreneurial journey for me, and the family, the promoter family, they're very very kind. They've given me all the freedom and investment I wanted, and I think we have done a great job, right? So that's the motivation, kind of adventurous person. So I took up this role, and I'm very happy about it, and it's going great, right?
Yes. We wish you more and more success, sir. So, as a leader in the sportswear industry, what advice would you give to the aspiring entrepreneurs looking to innovate into the sportswear market?
I think the sky is the limit. Okay, when it comes to activewear, sportswear. So one of the fundamental thing I believe that you are never late in starting up in life, right? And particularly in fashion, till the time humans are alive, they need clothing, right? And it may keep evolving from one fabric to another fabric, but eventually you need clothing, right?
Right.
So you are never late to start, right?
Hmm.
But whenever you start, I think you need to believe in your product, right? It's
Yeah.
not about making promises. It's not about making gimmicks, right? It's not about telling it to the consumer that this is what I stand for, but also you have to live, right? You have to stand by those promises, right? So invest heavily on product, invest heavily finding on, because activewear and sportswear as a category, it's not any other category, let's say ethnic wear or
Right.
some other category
Hmm.
where it's more about aesthetics and design, right? Here, the lot of technology goes behind it, right? So you need to really understand, go deeper into it, and build a product, right? And the product will speak for itself, right?
Yes.
Third thing is that building brand is a long term journey, right? It's very very long term. Sometimes you have to wait for decades to build a brand, right? And get there where you always wanted to get there, right?
Yes.
So be patient, stay invested, don't lose your patience, stay cool, right? And I think that's the kind of advice I would like to give. But when it comes to activewear, I think India has the capacity to let's say build $10 billion brands in this country, right? Find out your sweet spot and go after it.
Okay, noted. So, can you share some key lessons you've learned throughout your career? Particularly in navigating the challenges of sportswear industry.
Well, there are challenges are pretty, known, right? So I think finding the right product is one challenge. In India, the ecosystem doesn't exist, to build a great product. So you're dependent on imports, etc. Right? So that's a starting. That's a very big challenge. Right? Second challenge is that how do you kind of reach out to the consumer, larger set of consumer, right? How do you balance between let's say offline and online, right? When I started my career in online was non-existent. Today, everyone starts with online, right?
Right.
So what is your objective? Whether you want to become a truly offline brand or you want to become an online brand. So I see there's a two reverse trend. All the online D2C brands are now getting into offline. All the offline brands trying to get into online. So there is no ideal world in the end of the day,
Right.
right? You need to believe in one thing and probably go after it,
Hmm.
right? So that's the second challenge, finding out the right channel mix, channel fit, etc. The first one I talked about getting the product right. I think third and most important thing. I think is that um, finding out right people. Okay, when you're starting when you're entrepreneuring, I think it's not about just finding the right product and then a marketing channel and telling a story, but I think team is very very important, right? So and that is something what you need to really work on early on, because team and culture is something which makes or breaks the company, right?
Hmm.
Finding out the right partner who will be staying invested with you for a long time is very very important, right? Try to have a couple of co-founders maybe with you, right? Those who will challenge, question your decision every time you try and make a decision, right? It's very important to have that culture of cross questioning each other, right? Many people avoid that, right? They are not comfortable being questioned, right? But it's very important that somebody really suspicious about you and keep asking you why are you doing, what is the objective, right? So getting the right team, right culture in place, well motivated team, stay invested in the long term. I think building org is something what I'm trying to tell is very very important and challenging task, even today's world, even back then, right? So these are three things I think probably one can focus on. I mean, the list can go long on.
Yes, agree. So here we come at the end of our podcast. I would like to thank you for coming and joining this live podcast session. So as we conclude this enlightening conversation with the CEO of Techno Sportswear, we are inspired by the brand's commitment to blending technology, fitness, and style seamlessly. From innovative fabric technologies to strategic marketing approaches, Technovo Sportswear continues to redefine the sportswear industry. Remember, in the fast paced world of activewear, staying ahead means embracing technology, adapting to emerging trends, and prioritizing consumer needs. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of sportswear excellence. Thank you so much. I hope we stay connected in the future as well.